Welcome to the first tips and tricks session on creating sketches. So what is a sketch feature? So inside Creo we can create a sketch feature that contains lines, arcs, circles, splines, dimensions and constraints, and all this information is stored inside the single feature for that sketch. So if you want to make a change later on, you can go back to that sketch feature, edit the feature and add more sketch items or delete items, and then carry on to the next step. So what do we use these features for? We use these sketch features to create our 3D geometry. So it can be used for creating shapes like an extrude, where you take the sketch and you pull it in a direction, or to create a revolve feature where you spin the section around an axis, or the blend, which then goes from a big section to a smaller sketch or a second sketch. And then for sweeps, where we take the sketch and we sweep it along another sketch, which will then be the trajectory to create the sweep feature. Sketches can also be used for conceptual designs. If you want to create something in 3D but you just want to work on an idea first, you don't have to go and model all the parts. You can start with a simple sketch in 2D and create all the entities to check how they will they actually fit together. Is the design going to work in the space you've got? And then from that point onwards you can go and use the sketch information, that same sketch, to create 3D geometry as well. So when we create sketches, the sketch is always created on a plane. So it can be one of your default planes that you've got inside a new model, or it can be on any other extra plane that you've created in the model. It could be a plane offset, or a plane through a center, or an axis, or a point, or any flat surface on the model as well. So you can take any existing surface of any feature that you've already created, as long as it's flat. You can then pick on that surface and start your sketch feature. So some examples on how to create a sketch feature. So if we go to the top, you'll see the sketch icon in the datum group, and if we then click on the sketch icon, you'll get a pop-up window that will then ask you for a sketching plane. You can select a plane. It will then automatically find a reference plane. You can change that plane. You can pick another plane. So for the example, if we were going to go and select the top plane and use that to define the sketching orientation, if we click on the sketch icon and go into the sketch, you'll see that you've got that orientation. You can change that by going back to the sketcher setup and select a different orientation. So this can be done at any stage in the design. You can flip it if you want to look at the model from the back, and that way you enter the sketch. You can also do it differently. You can select the item first, the plane. So if you select the plane first and then click on the sketch icon, or on the pop-up window click on the sketch icon as well, or the top, it will then automatically use that plane and automatically assign an orientation for you. You can still go back and still change it to a different orientation if that's something that you want to do. If you have spun the model, you can click on the sketch view icon. If you go to the next section, you've got the insert group where you can import files. There's a sketcher palette. The next section is your operation group where you can copy and paste. You then have the datum groups. This will allow you to create center lines and points that you can see outside the feature, and the items on the right hand side is where you can then create the same items, but it'll only be visible inside the sketch. Okay, so the left hand side is for that. Then you've got construction items, all the basic sketching tools that we can use inside Creo. You can also right click and get all the most commonly used items. If there's something else you want to add, you can go to the customize option and add more commands to the pop-up window. And on the icons at the top as well, you also have drop-down options where you'll get more options. If you click on the line command as an example and move your mouse over the item, you'll see it will snap to existing geometry. You can right click and disable that if you don't want to use that. So this example, if you go and sketch, you'll see as you move the mouse around, it draws the lines, and left click to go to the next line, it will snap to items. It will create constraints automatically. If you then want to stop, you can push the middle button, or you can go to the top left, click on the select icon if you don't want to create any more lines. Okay, if you push the middle button once, and then it will still be in the line command. If you push it again, it will then go back and automatically reset that. Moving dimensions around, so that you can pick on a dimension and drag it. the software will automatically create the weak dimensions, the light blue dimensions. You can switch them on and off if you don't want to see them. They will always still be there in the background. We then have some editing tools that you can use to delete and modify and trim the corners. We have a constraint area in the top in the ribbon. We can add your own constraints. The dimension area, we can create different types of dimensions on the model. And then the OK and cancel button to go out of the sketch when you're done creating all your geometry. So as an example, if we go and add another rectangle, left click to click the start and end button, middle button to go out of the command. If we want to make two items equal, we can click on the equal command and select the two items. Or what you could also do, you can select the two items first, then holding the right mouse button, you'll get a pop-up window, and again there's the most commonly used constraints. You could make items equal as well directly from the constraints. And then if you move your mouse over any of the constraints or dimensions, it will highlight the references that's used inside those dimensions or the constraints for future reference. If you want to create your own dimensions, click on the dimension icon, select the items with the left click and then middle button where you want to place the dimension. You can then change the value, and what you'll see is that the weak dimension, the light blue dimension, will disappear. So the software then knows that you want to drive it with your own dimensions and not use the weak dimensions anymore. So if you, another example for creating a dimension, if you pick on the 2 points, where you push the middle button will determine what type of dimension you're creating. So if you push on the right hand side, it will create a dimension to the right. If you select the same 2 points, click at the bottom, it will then create the horizontal dimension. If you select the 2 points and click in between, it will do the distance. The same for dimensions on circles or other entities. You can also pick on the dimension and right click and then change the dimension type. So if you want to change it from a radius to diameter or to a linear dimension, they can all be done on the right click option as well. Or you can create it by using the dimension tool and click on the circle and then middle button to place the item. Then when you're done creating all your sketch items, you can click on the OK button and that will take you out of the sketch feature. Thanks for watching this first tips and tricks session on the Sketcher. There will be more sections on Sketcher, so please join us for those. Thank you.